Hello Partners Group team. This is the first in a series of videos covering a number of different things that you guys can do to edit the site, add pages, etc. I know many or most of you are already familiar with editing on WordPress, but I don't really want to make any assumptions about what you know and don't know. So I'm just going to start with the basic items and we'll work our way up, try to keep it very focused and organized by topic. So I'm going to do just a brief overview of some of the things here. When you first get logged in, you'll be on the dashboard. There are a number of items here. You can close these items if they're not items that you use very often to kind of clean up the appearance. You can also drag these items around. These things will be unique to your user account, so don't worry about messing up somebody else's dashboard view. All of this is specific to an individual user account. This video and all the rest that I'm going to make are going to be loaded into this tutorial videos plugin. This area will become scrollable once I add more videos to this. So again, you can move this up here or wherever if it's helpful for you, you can make it a little more visible, accessible from the upper part of the dashboard. As you're no doubt aware, this area down the left-hand side is a menu to access different editing parts of the site. So I think what we're going to be covering here in a number of videos are the forms, the blog posts, the pages, of course, the staff, careers, case studies, white papers, webinars, and awards and recognition. There might be more than one video for each of these items. Moving on to the pages aspect, because I'm assuming this is where you're going to be spending a lot of your time. Again, I'm sure you're already aware, but typically it will show these in order of publish date first. I often find it very helpful to just go ahead and click on the title column here, which will alphabetize the pages. It makes it a lot easier to find what page you might want to be working on. And you can, of course, always just search right up here in the search pages field to find what you're looking for as well. You can, when you first get a user account, this might be default to set, fewer pages. So, if this is set to something like 25 for you, and you're looking at the pages, it's not always convenient because then you have to scroll through multiple views of pages. So you can come up here to screen options and set this to a much higher number. I wouldn't suggest going much above 150 or 200. It bogs down the system and it'll take too long for you to look at anything. But in any case, this lets you look at all of the pages at once. In this case, until you add a lot more at one time. There are also options up here in these screen options to show more columns with more information. For anybody who might be doing SEO work on the site, it can show you a lot of information without having to click all the way into the page. I typically don't need those items, so I keep them hidden. If you are making updates to a page that are simply the title of the page or the slug, you can do those again without clicking all the way into the page. Or if you just want to draft a page instead of having it published, those are items you can do directly from the full page list view rather than having to click into each item. Just as we have on your existing site, we have the bar that shows up here. This can make it a lot easier to find a page. If you notice an error or something you want to update on a page, you don't necessarily have to go and find it in the back end. If you're browsing through and on the careers page you see some text you want to update, you can obviously just come right here to edit page. I like to keep the front and back end of the website open in adjacent tabs so that I can easily click back and forth and see updates after I've made them. When you do get onto the page to edit, the view for WP Bakery is a little bit different and, in my opinion, better than Elementor. It will always show you what the basics are of a block, whereas in Elementor, I believe once you have a nested row, the content or what is in there is hidden from you. So that's always really easy to see. A lot of the basics of how these things work, though, between WP Bakery and Elementor are quite similar. We'll get into some of the specifics on editing more deeply and using some of these templates in some later videos. For right now, I want to just focus on a couple of very simple items. Here is a text block. You get a little green bar on any of these items that allows you to either just fully delete that item, duplicate it, move its location around, or of course edit that item. So if you're going to be adding headlines to a page, I would highly suggest just duplicating one of these and then just copying, moving it where you need it to be, and then updating, of course, the text that's in there, as opposed to starting with a brand new element. You can, of course, come right here and say add element and choose your custom heading. But then you need to make sure to do some things like saying use the default family, making sure you're assigning the right element tag to it, etc. You'll notice I've made some edits here. If at any point you start editing the page and you lose track of what you're doing, you can always just refresh the page. It's not going to save your edits until you hit update over here on the right hand side. Alternately, if you've made some edits and you do know what you've done but you don't want to publish it just yet, you can always just hit the preview changes button, which will open that in a new tab, show you what those changes are going to look like before you commit and hit save. So to edit the text, we would just click on the little pencil here. A new window pops up above everything else. You can resize the vertical space here within the window. You can resize the window itself as needed. Obviously, this is just much like a Word document, and again, much like Elementor. There is often it will hide the second set of tools here, so this button right here can be helpful to reveal the additional formatting tools if you want there. If you want to add a link, you can just highlight the text, come right up here to the insert link option. You can just paste it in right here. I think it's generally better to come right here to the link options. And that way you have a whole list. You're not trying to copy and paste from somewhere. You can, again, do the search here to find what it is that you want, and it will write the link for you here. Or if you are linking out to another site, what you'll want to do, again, I would suggest just going to whatever it is, copying the link, inserting it here, and then of course if you're linking to something outside, you'll want to check this open link in a new tab option and add the link, save the changes, and then if you wanted to update that, you would just hit update. Obviously we don't, so we'll skip that. I think that is the basics of what I want to cover in this first video. We'll get on to some more detailed items like adding videos, adding the careers and case studies, etc. In secondary videos. Thanks.